we spent the past couple of years in a crazy hot market. Louisville home sales decline as demand outpaces supply. Effective communication is at the core of any situation. If you master these two ideas, you'll have a chance of being successful at residential real estate marketing. I think you need to be looking for investment opportunities that move the needle. The market will never crash if demand exceeds supply. This is what I've been telling you all along.
This is the J Pitt Show.
And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the J Pitt Show, or the Ryan Harris Show. Not sure which.
It's always weird doing two of these back to back.
Yeah, we're doing our second episode of the day today because I'll be doing some traveling. But you'll hear this soon enough. Not sure exactly when, but today's episode is probably going to be a little less time sensitive.
Yeah.
A little more evergreen, if you will.
So less time sensitive.
Less time sensitive. Well, we're still going to get it done in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you
If
meant
that's what you
like,
mean.
are we going to talk about things that are
Timely?
timely?
Less timely. That's what I should have said. Not time sensitive.
So I never knew how people used to do like 4-hour long podcasts, like Joe Rogan's, or I listen to Part of My
totally
Take a
could do
lot. And now that I've done this enough, I'm like, dude,
I could
we
totally
could do a 4-hour podcast. Especially, we don't even have guests. If we had a guest, dude, we could do a 4-hour podcast, no problem. Not saying I want to do that. I'm saying I know how people do it now.
I know. I could go on. And it's just, and that may just be me.
You know what I enjoy about doing this a lot is there's not many points in the day where you like have to set your phone down to do something. And like when we do this, I have my do not disturb on. I have my time up so I know how long we've been going. And
Yeah.
man, just sit here and knock stuff out and don't look at something on my phone. It's
Some
freaking
episodes
nice.
I'm better than others. I hope it's not obvious, but like I do get messages sometimes during the recording that I have to respond
I don't
to.
think you're on your phone very much.
Like I literally, the one we just recorded, I got a text from someone saying, "Hey, there's somebody here waiting for you." And I knew I was going to have to get up at the end of the podcast, and I had to respond and remind them, "Hey, you've got about 15 minutes to wait," because I told them that I was going to be doing this and that I would see them in between. But anyway, it was. Hopefully, you didn't catch me off guard enough that I gave some off the wall answer. But
No.
I think I was still active listening.
Yeah, no, it was good. So, all right, let's just jump into this one. Have some good stuff. I already cannot wait to end this episode. I have the best thing ever. So if you're listening, stay till the end. I hope it makes you wake up tomorrow ready to attack the day and all the days thereafter.
Oh.
Something I heard.
That's very uplifting.
I've been thinking of it, and it's awesome. So
Okay.
can't
All
wait
right.
for it.
Very so teased. We are teased.
Yeah.
All right. I can't wait to hear.
And you can't skip till the end. So, all right.
They
So we have 2 listener questions. We'll start with the one non-real estate related.
Okay.
This listener asks, "Will you ever go no facial hair again?"
No.
No.
Especially after. Well, I don't know about never.
How long have you had a beard now? Like 3 years
Since 2020. Since March of. It started when COVID started, like March 15th of 2020.
I wonder how young you would look like.
Dude. So.
When we look at the old videos, I'm like, holy crap.
If she had a mic, Hannah could tell you, because just today we went back in preparation for us being gone. We went back through some old stuff and looking at myself and listening to myself. She even made the comment that my voice is different. I don't know how, but apparently my voice, when I went into, I don't think my voice changed. Although I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility with like the coaching and the screaming and the losing of the voice. Like I guess it could change, right? Maybe, probably not.
Don't know.
But I think what I used to do, and when I'd go into like quote performance mode, like I feel like I raised the pitch of my voice a little bit, but I just don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm more comfortable?
You're just all downswings now?
It's all like what you're hearing right now.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
That's not a bad thing. I think it's
guess
good.
not.
You're straight authority.
Yeah, I hope. We'll see.
Maybe it's because you have more kids. I don't know.
More kids, less. Give,
You know,
give
we can't
zero,
do
give less.
We can't do a true side by side to know how you've aged these last 4 years unless you go no facial hair.
Yeah,
one
but
more
that's
time.
not going to happen. That's not. I have no doubt I would look younger if I shaved it because there's a lot of gray in it. And when if you hadn't noticed, I grew it out a little longer, at least like in one part. And Jen was like, "You look older," like just straight up. You need to. So she got me to guard it down again, down to the one guard. But
I cannot grow a good beard.
one of these days you will be
It
able
just
to.
all goes different ways. I like it like 2 days after I shave, but I pretty much shave every other day now.
Yeah, I was shaving every single day.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know. When was it popular for men to shave, like clean shave every day with a razor? Like I mean,
that. I kind of felt like, well, it's funny because again, looking at these videos, man, I dress so differently. Like I'm in much better shape now. Like it's crazy. Like there were even times where I felt like I was thin. I wasn't overweight, but I just didn't look healthy.
Yeah.
To me, I worked too much. I didn't work out, or I worked out, but it was all cardio, because I was afraid of being fat. Because like I did the college athlete thing, right? Where you have been like athletically training your body for like 20 years and then you are all of a sudden you're done and you're like, all right, well, I guess I don't have to do that anymore, but you keep eating like you used to.
Yeah.
Because you need like 4,000 calories a day to maintain when you're an 18, 19-year-old college athlete. So like I would still eat a ton, and I gained a lot of weight, and it was awful. And then I lost the weight, right? But I was like skinny fat. Like I really don't get.
Dude, I was gonna say I remember this one specific time. It was when I first started. I went out with you for a day to shadow you. So I mean, this is probably my first month.
Yeah.
And we went to, I want to say, Zaxby's. I've never seen anybody eat so fast in my life.
I eat fast.
I mean, the second chicken tender was in your mouth before the first one was gone. You're like,
That's good.
hey, I don't have any time, man.
Hey, you know what? Did you tell me then? Because I don't remember that. That's funny.
I think I did, yeah.
That's funny. I eat fast.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, holy
Have you seen the trend where men and women try to eat at the same speed as their partner?
Yes, I have seen
It's
that.
pretty. Have we talked about it on this podcast
Which also,
before?
I've learned to start eating slower. It makes you eat less, and like I enjoy my food more. I used to eat really fast, but like I've like forced myself to eat slower now.
I eat fast still. I don't know. I don't feel as bad about eating a lot because I'm really active. A lot more active than I probably was physically, at least, at the time that some of these videos were filmed.
Do you eat breakfast?
I don't really.
See, that's also another thing. If like you just can cut out breakfast, you're fasting basically every day. And,
I do. I basically intermittent fast, but I don't really take credit for it because the content of what I eat every day is not great.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. It's
I'll tell you another thing I remember from that shadowing thing.
What's up?
Because I've still never done this. So you showed a house, and then we went and sat down in a McDonald's with these people. You wrote an offer for them in a McDonald's. Mm-hmm. And I've still never done that because I'm just like, well, I'll go back to the office
and do it.
I'll do it. I'll call you. We'll go over it and sign it
in a McDonald's
virtually.
I'm trying to remember who that would have been.
I mean, crap, man, that was almost 6 years ago now.
I know it's wild. It's wild the amount of time that has passed. But yeah, I used to carry contracts with me because you just never know. I mean, when somebody wants to make an offer, you got to be ready.
I think you did it on your laptop.
Did I do it on my
laptop?
laptop?
McDonald's get on their Wi-Fi and you flipped it around and they signed that.
Okay, good.
So
6 years ago would have been 2018.
Maybe dot loop wasn't very advanced then.
Probably wasn't. We had dot loop certainly, but I remember doing in-person signings back then. Yeah. Dot loop hasn't changed much, to be quite honest. It hasn't innovated much.
No, it's probably gotten worse. But
it seems worse.
Anyways, all right, let's go on to the next question. So Jay's always going to have facial hair.
Yeah, it's as far as I can tell. Somebody made a funny statement earlier today. It was like it's like makeup for men. like it just
That and a hat.
That and a hat, especially a backwards hat.
Hey, that could be that's a children's book. That and a hat.
That and a hat.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dr. Seuss over here. All right. Next listener question. They said, we closed on our first house last week. What is your biggest tip for a new homeowner?
Biggest tip for a new homeowner. Well,
This was also yeah.
I could give a lot. So if they just closed, then they probably got a higher interest rate. So I'll say this: biweekly payments are pretty cool. For the average homeowner that's not like trading in real estate and making investments that generate income that allow you to pay down debt faster. If you're just like a W-2'd kind of employee type, or you've got a small business or something like that, but you want to pay your mortgage off faster, at a biweekly payment, you can usually cut anywhere from like 9 to 12 years off your mortgage. Yeah. So that's a cool idea. Always pay your taxes. Always pay your taxes at the discount amount. It'll save you $300-400 a year. That's pretty good.
Can you explain what that means for anybody
So
listening?
the tax bill comes out in November, it comes out in
basically just pay it right away.
October. If you pay it right away, if you pay it within the first 30 days of receipt.
Do you have to not? I mean, I feel like most people probably pay their taxes in escrow.
Yeah, you can direct your mortgage holder to pay it at the discount amount. You could also, if you have the ability, which you may not, you could pay it before your mortgage holder pays it, and then the money just gets refunded to you.
Yeah.
But it ensures that the discount amount is paid. You can also choose if you can put down enough money when you purchase. Typically, you have to put 20% down. If you can put down 20% at the time of your purchase, you're not required to escrow without any penalty. So you could do that. That's a good one. Pay the discount amount.
I always tell people when they buy a house, like, this is just a personal preference of mine, but change all the locks. It's not a crazy expense, but
Absolutely agree.
make you feel better. Most
Absolutely
people
agree
don't
with
even
that.
have the keys for all their doors in their house anymore these days, it feels like.
Yeah, no, I mean,
And then it's kind of a weird thing when you get to the closing table and they hand over a key and they're like, we don't have a key to the back door. You're like, I feel like that should have been disclosed, but you're
Yeah.
technically not
Keys are funny.
required to disclose it.
well, keys are funny because they're rarely used anymore. Like you have keypads, electronic keypads. A lot of people just use garage door openers.
Yeah.
They leave the house between the door between the house and the garage unlocked.
I really
which
think
is
that's something
really-
that should be disclosed now in the seller's disclosure is like, do you have key to
Do
every
you have a key
door?
to every door?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. But yeah, it's certainly not disclosed, and I guess most people just don't find it to be a big issue. But I kind of agree with you. I would say set your HVAC up on a programmatic, like both
Service and cleaning.
spring and fall service and cleaning.
Really is cheap too.
It's like less than $100. For a trip. So it's very good preventative maintenance. It's probably the single most expensive item, aside from probably a roof or replacing all of your windows. But you never have to replace
Get your
all of
house
your
deep
windows
cleaned
at once.
before you move in. I
Yeah,
always tell people
getting
that.
deep cleaned is a good one. But get your units, your AC and furnace units serviced. Every spring and fall. That's pretty much. I mean, I think that's from a maintenance standpoint. That's all good.
Yep. Cool. I don't have anything else for that one. Do you?
No, I'm good. I'm good with that. I think preventative maintenance is really important. It's a really important part of homeownership.
Yep. Cool. All right. We got another real estate question here, and then we're away from real estate. So I saw this tweet, and would just love to hear you respond to it like you were responding in a thread. Okay. So this person said, I'm constantly having to explain to people that rental income minus mortgage payment does not equal cash flow. Seems obvious, right?
Yeah. Okay. So say that again.
So basically what he's saying is he meets too many people that think cash flow equals rental income minus the mortgage payment.
Oh no.
And there's a ton of people responding to it below.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it like that, or that analysis for, just kind of
If you want to lose money.
its simplicity and quickness of analysis. And if there's a spread large enough that you can handle any expected expenditures, you can talk about it like that. But no, I mean, you have all sorts of other things that go into play there. I mean, you may be paying utilities on the tenant's behalf. You are going to have regular maintenance items. You're going to have taxes. You're going to have all these things, right? And it's not necessarily, those things have to be considered. They'll destroy your cash flow, right? It's funny that people actually think that.
Yeah. How do you handle it? You have a big and definitely growing property management business here. How do you handle big ticket items when a tenant, say their HVAC breaks, they reach out to you all? What's kind of your all's process of dealing with that?
I mean, so number one, we have a great relationship with an HVAC company that provides us with fair prices. It's not the cheapest. It's quality work at a fair price, which is all you can really expect.
Do you set that relationship up in the beginning? You go to the owner, you say, hey, we have this many units. We're trying to grow. We're going to get bigger. Can you
so the owner of that company, the owner of the HVAC company?
Yes.
Yeah, we started using them for maintenance early on. And we've grown with them as it kind of works itself out, honestly, because as you send them more work, they start understanding what capability you have for referring work. And so then they start asking questions like, okay, how many units do you have? Okay. Because they're trying to nurture the relationship as well. They're not just a beneficiary. They want to provide service. They want to provide service too. And you can grow together, honestly. And so we want to know what's your bandwidth. We want to know what your opportunity for growth is. Can we send you 10 service tickets a month? Can we have you do on average 1 to 2 installs per month? Because when you're managing 500 units or more, it's at least that much work.
How many do you all have now?
About 500.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're at about 500, and it's about, I would say, 70-30 houses to apartments. And
the great thing I think about a property management company is when you're managing for investors and you're doing a great job, those investors are always looking to buy more. So you work to get that client, that investor that you manage properties for, and then they buy more, and it's not like you have to go searching for these units.
Well, it's a cyclical kind of situation, right? And that's something that
it's kind of a snowball effect.
It really is. And that's, my dad taught me that. He said, when he was a real estate agent looking to grow his business with a fledgling property management company, really what he was trying to do with his property management was fill his time and save himself money. He owned rental property. He wanted to put a process in place that would take care of his management company, or that would take care of his rentals. Then he realized he had built a system to take care of his own rental property that he could market to other people. And he started setting very modest goals. First, I want to take care of my own property. Okay, now I want to sell this to others and I want it to pay for itself. Okay, now I want it to pay some of my expenses for my real estate business. So he was trying to zero cost base essentially his entire business through this regular and continuous income that would come from property management. Ultimately, what he figured out was the property management company created a ton of real estate sales business.
Yeah.
You sell investors a property, then you manage it for them. Then you sell it for them and help them buy more or buy something else when they need to trade up. Who do you sell that property to? Maybe another one of your investors, and you repeat the cycle, right? It is really a very good situation. My brother gets to take advantage of that mostly because he runs the property management company. But it really does throw off business for a real estate salesperson.
That's cool. Why do you think, I don't think every state's this way. Why do you think Kentucky requires somebody to be a
license.
broker to own a property management business?
It's the handling of funds is what it really is. The handling of funds is really, really like the importance is escalated in property management. Okay, so number one, think of your tenants are probably on average, the most vulnerable financially, and you're holding security deposit money that is technically theirs that has to be, distributed in a certain way to be in accordance with the law, right? Not only that, when you're managing property, you're taking possession of other people's money. So the rent is paid to you as the property manager, and then you're holding it and distributing it to the owner. So the pass-through of cash is huge. It's about 500 pieces of property at an average of $1,000 a month in rent. We take possession of all that money every single month.
Yep.
And then we turn around, we deduct our small fee. We pay the owner's bills for them, and then we cut them a check for the difference. And so, the accounting responsibility is huge.
Yeah.
So you're not just going to give that to just ability legally to somebody who just got their license.
Yeah. I definitely know how difficult the accounting piece is of it. My parents own quite a bit of doors and storage units, and I know storage units. I don't know.
Same concept.
But either way, a lot of doors, and they have partners on a lot of these things. So their property management business manages their own units, and so they don't have to have a broker's license for that, obviously.
No, they can manage their own.
They do have to pay out partners on all these investments that they own them with. And I've sat there with my mom before and QuickBooks, and oh my goodness,
it's
it
complicated,
is
isn't
a ton. I
complicated.
honestly am baffled at the accounting responsibilities of it.
It's pretty crazy.
How she is so smart. She's very great writer, English major, and just very good. But she's taught accounting all to herself and handles it all. It's crazy impressive. So I know it's the accounting part of it is probably 90% of the job.
Oh, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Yeah. So. I think property management really comes down to maintenance and accounting for the most part. Yeah. The sales is very limited. It's there, and you have to be able to take care of people, and you have to be able to understand. But you set your rental criteria, you follow it. You can train employees to do that. The sales is pretty limited anymore. The way I learned it was a lot more sales heavy, right? But the accounting and the maintenance is really, really the crux of the business.
Yeah. Cool. All righty. Let's move on. So a razor. I saw this on Twitter. It says a razor is a rule of thumb that simplifies decision making. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, these called as razors, but you'll definitely recognize these philosophical kind of decision making. I don't know what you call them, but it's philosophical decision making.
Okay.
Based off. Let's just go through it. So first one, the sunk cost fallacy.
Okay.
So,
it's being pot committed.
So they say is don't waste time on something because you've already spent a long time on it.
Yeah.
What you've invested is irrelevant to whether you should continue investing. Remove attachment to past decisions. So
for sure.
What I want to do is just talk through these.
No, it's great. I love it. I love these. So I think I know where you're headed with this. So I said the being pot committed. It's a poker reference where you're playing Texas Hold'em. You've got pocket aces. You make a big bet pre-flop, right? And then you see the flop and you don't pair anything. You just got a pair of aces, right? But you've already committed to the pot, right? Your hand has gotten worse. So what do you do at that point? Do you do you lay the hand down or bet minimally and fold when someone else raises you? Or do you find more value in calling a big bet because you've already put more chips in? You're going to see two more cards, chances of catching one more ace. There is some chance there, but your odds have significantly decreased, but yet you follow. Many poker players fall victim to this. Yeah. And in life, it makes a ton of sense.
Anybody that owns a business.
Here you go. I'm working with this buyer. I've shown them 100 houses. They won't write an offer. Sunk cost fallacy. You put all this time in them, so you stick with them when your time would have better been spent probably a long time ago finding a new client.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said last episode, say no to shit leads.
That's it. That's it.
Unless you're brand new, just go on it to get a little experience.
Yeah, get a few of them. Get a few of them.
All right, the next one, the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less competent someone is, the more they overestimate their competence.
Yep.
The novice who claims mastery is forever trapped. True experts know the limit of their knowledge.
Absolutely. I firmly believe that the true masters know how little they know. And the people that, what comes to mind is know enough to be dangerous. You ever hear that saying? The people that know enough to be dangerous will severely overestimate. So, yeah, I think it's absolutely a thing. I say all the time that there are plenty of scenarios I've never encountered. I apply decision-making principles, but I can't possibly claim to have experience in every possible situation. It's just not possible. There's too many.
Yeah. Also, I think like if you're not a very competent person, but you overestimate your competence, you're just an asshole. Like, if we're being honest. Like most assholes I know, that's explains them perfectly.
The Dunning-Kruger effect.
It's the asshole effect.
So just tell them that, and they won't know what it means, and then they'll just have to go Google it.
Yeah. All right, the next one. So, Occam's razor. I think I said that right.
It is Occam's razor.
When faced with competing hypothesis, choose the one with the fewest assumptions. Do simple better instead of over complicating your life. Occam's razor cuts through complexity.
I really, really like this one. And if you asked me to say it before you read the definition, I would have said the simplest answer is usually the correct one.
Yep.
Especially when having competing viewpoints.
I need to apply this to my golf game a lot more.
That's probably true. I want to say especially with putting, you just get it close. Somebody told me the other day, not to make this a golf transition, but when you picture at what rate would you say you make 3-foot putts? Probably close to 100, right? 95% probably.
Oh, no, I wish.
You miss a lot
probably
of
them. Probably like 70 to 80 at this point in my life.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's a high rate. Even if you think that's bad, it's still 70 to 80. It's still 80%. So I just anymore have been trying my first putt. As long as it's not like a 5-footer, right? If it's a 5-footer, I'm trying to make it. If it's more than 10, 15 feet, I'm trying to get it within 3 feet.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to clean it up at a high rate.
I got to go putt aggressively to the front of the cup.
Putt aggressively to the front of the cup. Okay. So you leave yourself a 3-inch leeway there. Yeah. I get that. I like it. But no, I mean, I'm with it.
Cool. Next one, Hanlon's razor. Never really heard of this one, but
spell it.
Hanlon.
Okay, Hanlon's razor. I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Like I said, my mom was an English major, but my worst part of the ACT was the English portion.
English.
But this one is never attribute to malice what can be explained by stupidity.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Most mistakes and failures are due to incompetence, not ill intent.
Yep.
Assume good faith first. This razor allows you to keep the peace when life gets crazy. I think I've got better at this one as I've gotten older.
I've heard of this one for sure, but I hadn't heard it called whatever the name is. I've even said never attribute to malice what can easily be attributed to stupidity.
Yeah.
I think that's totally fair. People will say, well, stupid people will say what they think. They're not malicious in their stupidity. They're just stupid. That's got to be a clip.
Yeah.
They're not malicious in their stupidity. They're just stupid.
All right. We got 3 more. Grice's razor. In conversation, say only what is true, relevant, and clear. avoid deception, irrelevance, ambiguity, and verbosity. Quality communication is concise and honest.
I'll give you that. I'll give you
Basically
that.
says this razor slices away the noise to reveal meaning.
Yeah. Well, when I talk to real estate agents, and they bring me a problem, and they give me all the background, if you'll watch what I do is I shrink the problem.
Yeah.
Right. I strip away, right, all the sideline information and get to the root of the point very quickly. And then I can make decisions to help them very quickly. But, he said, and then she said, and then I did, and then we did, and then we talked about, and then I got a call, and then she texted me, and then they said, like, I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
I need, was it disclosed? Yes or no? Like most really impactful questions can be answered effectively with yes or no.
Yep. All right. Second to last one. Hitchens razor. What can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. The burden of proof is on the one making the claim. Hitchens razor cuts down unfounded arguments and superstition.
So essentially the person making the statement is required to support it.
So like LMPD with Scotty Scheffler right now.
Okay. All right. Expand. Come on.
I mean, LMPD is making
They made the arrest.
The claim that Scotty Scheffler dragged the cop. No.
So they need to provide evidence.
No, unfortunately, I don't think that's how it always works.
No.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah. So whoever makes the claim provides the evidence. And if they can't provide the evidence, then you can't assume it's true.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, it could be taking a lot of real estate.
It's called the
problems
burden of
too.
proof, right?
Yeah.
Right. It could be called the burden of proof.
So
I like it.
Last one, the arena razor. This person says, this is something I learned at a young age. Pay more attention to people who have skin in the game and face the consequences of failure. Ignore the pundits and commentators.
I like it. So it's just like the man in the arena reference. Where
I think it's like people telling you too, like you should invest in this, but like.
Oh yeah. Well, have you heard the man in the arena quote? I think
No.
it's a Teddy Roosevelt quote. It's like it's like a poem. It's called a quote, but the man in the arena. I think this kind of informs. Let me see if I can pull it up and read you a little excerpt from it. Man in the arena.
I think it's also like when I think of this, I think of like, I said people like tell you to invest this, and this. Like, so, I mean, we've talked about. I have a lot of skin in the game in Bitcoin, but like, I don't go around telling people to invest in it. I'd rather them invest in it because not because I said to, but because like they kind of understand it and like. I don't want them to come blame me for anything.
No, you don't want to be held accountable for the performance of something that you just simply thought.
And I
was
think
a good
people
idea.
that would just like flat tell you to invest in something is like proof that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah. So the Teddy Roosevelt quote is called "The Man in the Arena," and I don't know when he first spoke this. It was in kind of a speech, but it says, "The man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. Credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood and strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who does actually strive to be the doer of deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, great devotion, who spends himself worthy in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails by daring greatly. And so shall his place never be with those cold, timid souls who never know neither victory nor defeat." So like the point is the arena reference, right? Basically says you have to do the thing, not the pundit who speaks about it, who witnesses and comments, right? I don't know. Maybe it's not, but I like to think it is. This is one of my favorite things because if you notice, man, when you go back to the time that you started here, like the central theme is action.
Yep.
Right? We talk a lot, but we do more, right? I think a lot of realtors talk, but they don't do.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Can you pretty much tell right away when you're talking to an agent and they're telling you everything they've been doing to try to get business? If they're telling you everything they're doing, they're probably not doing it, right?
Well, most of them don't tell me what they do. They ask me what they should do. And they say, well, I thought about this. Well, what did you do? What did you do?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't do anything. You thought about doing something. You got to do something.
Yeah.
Right? So,
when I was still working on Simba, I had a lot of people start reaching out about app ideas and different things. And I'm like, well, have you tried to solve it already? And my first question, though, actually was, have you looked to see if it exists yet? And I got this from, what is this book called? It's called the Mom Test, I think. Like, if you have an idea and you ask your mom about it, like has she, or your mom says she has this problem, and then you're, hey, I have an idea for that. But if she's never actually searched for a solution to the problem, it's probably not a big enough problem that people are looking for. So like when people would reach out to me, say, hey, I have an idea for this, and it solves something, I'm like, well, have you looked to see if it exists? And if they haven't looked to see if it exists to solve it for them, other people probably aren't either.
yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I thought you were going to go with the mom test. It was going to be something like, "Oh, that's great, honey." If your mom really gets excited about it, then maybe it's a thing.
I really need to read that book again. It was actually an audiobook I listened to, and everybody on our team, we forced everybody to listen to it because I think when we were asking for feedback from people on what we were building, we weren't necessarily asking the right questions. In the mom test, the more you get into it, it helps you ask the right questions that are actually useful for what you're building, which, you can apply it to real estate as well. It's just like asking the right questions is everything in business.
Isn't it great that like the best books or the best premises, I guess you would say, they apply to anything. Like I remember early in my career thinking I needed to be better at having like tough conversations. And I was right. Like it's of the utmost importance in our industry. Right. And I remember I ended up reading a book called Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. And it's like this like old school book. And it was like published like forever ago. And it's just like very makes sense. Like things like don't wait.
Yep.
Like have the conversation now. Like what? Like
what do you, we've talked about this. What do you have anxiety about? Okay, do that thing.
Do it. Do it now. What was that? What was that concept of the something hour? You remember you and I talked about
snack hour at night.
It's not the snack hour. No, it's like we did. The scary hour. Yeah. You told us about something called the scary hour, and it's basically where you reserve like all your most difficult tasks for like one specific hour.
Oh yeah.
And it's like strategically placed at some point in your day where you just knock everything out and it's like supposed to be very liberating. But like it's just all the same things. Like you're going to laugh at this too. So are we pretty much done?
Well, it was going to be a good lead in. I was going to talk about like the prisoner's dilemma, and like the first question under here that explained it was have the hard conversation or avoid the conflict. Would you steal or split the money if you had the option? Or should you do the dishes or wait for your roommate? And it basically goes into this thing where like if you put two prisoners into two different rooms, and like the best possible outcome is neither of them rat on each other, and then neither of them are in trouble. Or you could have one rat on one, and that guy's in trouble. This person's not.
Yeah.
Or they both rat on each other, and they're both in trouble. But really, the best outcome possible is for neither of them to do either.
But they don't get to talk to each other.
Exactly, and that's why they're talking about like in this like should you do the dishes or wait for your roommate? Like,
you should do it.
When either one of you do them, you should do it. But there's different options. One roommate could suck it up and just do them all and have resentment towards the other. or neither of them can do it, and the dishes could just start piling up completely.
So
like, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so I love this. I love this conversation. And this reminds me of a very cool conversation I had with a very smart lady at one point. So I was in Seattle at a Tom Ferry team leaders event, and Preston was probably like, this was probably about the most stressful moment in my career.
Yep.
Preston was young. He was probably 2 years old. Jen came with me. You know, we've talked about, you know, we waited 5 years before we had our second. She had some postpartum, you know, depression problems and things like that we just had to really work out and cope with, right? And the business was good, but, you know, more money, more problems, right? And more disorganization. I needed Jen's help. We were getting ready to start implementing and working her into the business. Anyway, we started spending a lot more time together at work. And we bickered a lot because we're both type A people.
Yeah.
But she's introverted and I'm extroverted. So like we butt heads over the things that we disagree about, but then not only that, we communicate completely differently. So we would butt heads over that. And so we found ourselves bickering all the time. And one day I was just so frustrated with it. And I walk into this thing and this lady, and her name escapes me at this moment. I'll think of it here in a minute. But she was a coach for Tom Ferry's organization. And she was very like this West Coast kind of Zen personality. Like she probably did a lot of yoga, right? You know, and she could just tell, we were supposed to get together in groups and do something, and she could just tell my head wasn't in it. And she asked me what was up. And I told her, and she gave me some advice. And she goes, look, this is just my opinion, but I think that this is something that you should take and change your approach to your relationships. Not just my relationship with my wife, but all your relationships where you depend on another human being. She said, let me tell you something about human nature. Every one of us, no one is exempt. We all put more value in our own efforts than the efforts of others. It doesn't matter if it is 100% identical, you will think your effort is better for some reason. Even if you want to acknowledge it as equal, you will not. You will skew in your own direction. She said, so don't look for 50-50 with your partner. It may seem natural. You give 50% effort, they give 50% effort. You come together, you make 100%. That's mutual and harmonious. It is not. It is the opposite of mutual and harmonious. In fact, marriages where one partner gives 80 and the other gives 20 and it is understood and accepted are more happy than relationships that attempt to reach 50-50.
Yeah.
She said, here's what you do. I said, okay, well, that's not us. So what's your advice? She says, you can't control her. You give 100%. Whatever you think 100% is, give it. Give it, and don't ever stop giving it. Don't ever think that you get a break from giving it. Forget for forever that you ever had a time where you didn't have to give 100%. Do it all. Take it all on your back. And then you go about your life that way, right? And then here's what's going to happen. Your partner's going to witness it. May take them a week, may take them a month, may take them a year. But they're going to witness it, and ultimately it'll inspire them to do the same. And if you ever have a conversation, you need to tell them what you're striving for and be honest about it. And eventually you'll find your way. That's what she told me. I could not believe the weight that it lifted. And so then ever since then, and that doesn't mean I haven't been without resentment in my relationship since then. Trust me, I have. But I always come back to that. I'm like, all right, you don't get to give less than 100. And it's weird, right? It's weird. It's not how most people strive to be, but it gave me a ton of peace, man, in a really, really stressful moment. I don't know why it did, but it did. It seemed to make sense.
You need to take the mic out. I wish you could take it out and drop it right now. And I had something else for after that, but I'm not going to go to it. I'm going to go to what I wanted to end the show with because I think it's a perfect lead in for the mic drop you just gave to what I want to end this with. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, just have you answer it. All right. And we're going to be done with the show. Let you sign us off. So, all right, Jay, if I offered you $100 million right now, would you take it?
I mean,
yes.
Sure. I mean, if there's no strings attached.
So, yes. And what would you say? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. But the only catch is you don't get to wake up tomorrow. Would you still take it?
No.
So that means waking up tomorrow is worth more than $100 million. So you wake up every day with a smile. You're worth more than $100 million.
That's absolutely right. I've heard that phrase differently. But yes, your time, a single day, is worth more.
Get to wake up.
Than $100 million. I agree with that. 100%
Well, I think
agree with
where
that.
I've heard it before in a different way is, would you trade places with Warren Buffett? Well,
Yeah, of course. Well, but Warren Buffett's 80 years old.
so no.
So no.
Right.
But people don't think like that when they're posed with this question. I think it kind of goes back to that human nature thing that we were just talking about. You see things through a lens. And I think it's a talent. Honestly, I love having conversations like this because it breeds creativity in communication, and I think that is incredibly important. Because I guarantee you walk into Friday Roundtable in front of 40 agents and you say, would you take $100 million? Yes. And like you would wake people up with just that simple little exercise, and they're capable then of communicating in a whole different way.
I think what really works, like people that put a lot of emphasis on money, like it's important to them to live the life they want to, like completely fine. But like when you throw the money in there with it, like, hey, yeah, I'd take the money, but like, I guess money's not end all be all. I'd rather wake up tomorrow than have $100 million.
I 100% agree. 100% agree, man. I don't like, money's not everything. And honestly, the more successful you get, I think, and the more money you make, the less important it seems. Everybody likes to win. Everybody likes to do well. Everybody likes to be good at what they do. But when you see what it really takes you to live the life you want, and that your income exceeds that, like, and then you start understanding like the benefit that the money provides future generations or your legacy or your charity or whatever, that's pretty exciting. But the most interesting perspective is understanding how easy it is when you stick with it to get to a place where you make more than you ever need.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty incredible. And time does that so like thoughtfully. It's like when you're 22, you can't possibly imagine that situation. But when you're 42 and it's happened, you're like, oh shit. Okay, here we are. So anyway.
I think, honestly, for me, getting married and having a kid also like changes.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Like, you also think you have this kid, you're like, dang, I need more money to take care of this little guy. But you also realize it's not the end all be all.
No, you'll get there, man. You'll get there. You're probably there already. But like that's just the thing. I agree with you. When I had the conversation that I explained a minute ago, my kid was probably 1. I was a little older than you, but my kid was probably 1 or 2, and I had begun to glimpse what a life looked like where my wife didn't work, but my expenses had probably tripled, right? And the pressure was on me, and all I needed to know was that I was doing the right things. And if you just take a breath, then it'll all come together. Yeah. So, all right, that's all the time we got for you today, folks. Really appreciate you joining in. As always, check us out on Spotify, on Apple, or anywhere you podcast. Throw us a review if you so choose. If you like what we have to say, or just a follow would be appreciated. Find us on the socials at jpittsrealtor, at ryanharris.re. Once again, we will see you soon. That's all for this week. Thank you for listening.
Peace.